When nature shows its true form, the soul shivers, and something similar happened. The airplane with Flight 571 crashed on a snowy mountain, thousands of feet above the ground, and the passengers who survived in this crash had only one way to save themselves: eating the flesh of one's own family members and friends. The story of Flight 571 may be called the biggest miracle of the world, the biggest anger in human history. Your soul will tremble after listening to this story. The heart-wrenching story begins. On the 12th of October, 1972, a chartered plane takes off from Europe in South America, which has to reach Santiago, the capital of Chile. Rugby players are sitting in this plane and they are going to watch their match, their family members and their friends. There are a total of 45 passengers in this plane, 9 family members. This flight will reach its destination in 3 hours. On the way, it will have to cross the mountain ranges of Andes. But unfortunately, the weather turns bad later on. Due to this flight is forced to land in the city of Palaces in Argentina on the way. This flight stays there overnight and is ready to take off the next day, i.e. on 13th of October. Problem is that the weather is still bad. The good thing is that the pilot of the flight has flown 29 times on this route before. Due to this, he has a complete idea of how to cross the hills, and due to this confidence, this flight took off again on 13th of October at 2:18 p.m., where only 1 hour of journey is left to reach Santiago, and the pilot is confident that after 1 hour he will reach Santiago safely. This plane was flying at an altitude of about 18,000 feet and was slowly crossing the hills of Andes. Later, the weather got worse, due to which the visibility decreased further, and the pilot was not able to see anything ahead. If the weather was clear, the pilot would have got an idea of where the plane was by looking at the surrounding hills. But at this time, the pilot was only dependent on the plane's instrument because the pilot knew that he would reach Sankia in 1 hour. That's why he kept calculating his location, and after 1 hour, when he felt that he had crossed the hills of the Andes, he asked the ADC at Santiago Airport for permission to land the plane. ATC asked whether he had crossed the hills of Andes. The pilot said yes. Crossed the hills of the Andes. ATC was also dependent on the location given by the pilot. ATC gave permission to land the plane, told the pilot to take the plane to an altitude of 11,500 feet. 3:21, the pilot started reducing the altitude of the plane slowly. As soon as the plane comes down, the pilot sees that the hills of Andes are still moving, and there is a very big rock in front. Quickly, the pilot tries to lift the plane up again, but now it was too late. While lifting the plane up, the rear part of the plane hits the hill and breaks apart. Due to the rear part of the plane breaking, the seats in the rear fly way in the air along with the passengers, and 3 passengers die in the air itself. In this collision, the right wing of the plane was also broken, due to which the plane becomes unbalanced, due to which its other side hits the hill, and that too breaks. Now only the front part of the plane was left, which hits the glacier below at a speed of 350 kilometers per hour. The plane is completely destroyed. The pilot of the plane is killed instantly. Out of 45 people, 12 have died in this incident, and 33 people are still alive. But most of them are in a bad condition, and they do not even know where they are at this time. It crashed. The plane is scattered on some unknown hill of Andes at a height of 3,570 meters from the ground. No one knows whether they will be able to escape from the mountain or not. What happened till now was just a small trailer. The real story of this flight will start now. You cannot even imagine what is going to happen to them in the future. These Andes mountains are now going to wreak havoc on them. Their further story information will send shivers down your spine. The injured passenger was a passenger from the time. Name was Dobara. 2 who had a head injury, due to which he went into a coma. The reason was that the sun was going to set soon and it was about to be evening. Due to this, the rescue team did not have much time to find them, and if by chance they were not rescued before it got dark, then it would be impossible to go to the Yellow Mountain at night because the temperature here reaches minus 30 degrees Celsius at night. 4 ships were sent for quick rescue, and the hills of the Andes were searched. But they could not find anything anywhere, because the plane had crashed at a place where there was white snow and thick fog, and the plane was also white in color. Due to this, the rescue team was unable to make out the flashlight from above, and it became night in no time, and the rescue operation was postponed for the whole night. The remaining passengers were hoping that they could somehow spend just tonight. Tomorrow, someone or the other would find some relief for them, and they made a center in the plane and spent the night there. This night was very dreadful for the day because they would have to spend tonight in minus 30 degrees Celsius. But they have a hope that tomorrow someone will find them and save them. In this hope, they somehow managed to pass this night. But 5 people are not able to survive this night, and now the number of people left alive reduces from 33 to 28. The next morning on 14th of October, the search operation is started again, and 11 planes fly to find them. But the problem was the same. The airplane was not visible in the snowy mountains due to its white color. The planes of the rescue team were flying over survivors, but they were not able to see it below. Because of this, to give a signal to the rescue team, they tried to write SOS with lipstick on the train. But they realized that the lipstick was not enough to write such a big SOS. Because of this, they made a big cross on the snow with their suitcase so that it could be clearly visible to the rescue team from the sky. That day, 3 airplanes flew over them. But now no one notices them while sleeping, and this day also passes. The next day, i.e. 15th October, the situation is the same on that day too, but the rescue team is unable to find them, and the fool has understood that they are in a very bad situation. It cannot be said when the help will come. Due to this, they started making survival techniques with the things present in the plane. They were arranging water by flying in the sun, but they did not have many options for food. 3 days after the crash, i.e. on the 16th of October, Nam Parado wakes up from coma, and as soon as he wakes up, he comes to know that his mother has died in this press, and his 19-year-old sister is seriously injured. Days are passing by. Help was not being received. I had food. That too has finished. The sunlight is reflecting from the snow and giving it to their eyes. They are thirsty and enduring the unbearable cold. Now they had spent 8 days on Witch Hill. The rescue team passes over them. 8 days after the search, Nanduratu's sister also loses the battle of life and dies. And after 8 days, the search operation is stopped because it is October. There is heavy snowfall there. Due to this, the search operation is postponed for 2 months. The official thought that all the passengers would have died in these 8 days. Due to this, their dead bodies will be searched and sent to their families after 2 months. Here, the survivor found a radio in the wreckage of the plane. When the survivor turned on the radio, the news was being broadcast that Flight 571 Kesar location has now been closed. This news blew away the senses of the survivor. Till now, he had a hope of being found, but now he was hearing the news of his own death on the radio. There was a ray of hope of his own survival. That too has been lost. Now he knows that death is certain here. Now either let the circumstances dominate you or face them bravely. He tried to save himself from the cold by cutting the seats of the plane and stuffing their soles in his clothes. He wrapped the seat covers around his feet and made shoes to walk in the snow. And the communication device installed in it should be turned on, and help should be called. But the weight of the battery was 25 kilograms. It was not possible to carry such a heavy battery in such a weak condition. Then he thought that some communication device should be taken out from the mail body of the plane and brought near this battery and turned on so that he could call the rescue team. For a few days, he tried to turn it on, but he did not succeed. And 59 days after the press, i.e. on December 11th, another everlong accident took place in which 3 more heads were killed, after which the number of survivors remained only 16. And now these 3 youth leaders, Aro and Vijender, set out to climb the glacier without any gear. These 3 kept walking towards the west, but they did not know at all whether they would find any human settlement in the direction in which they were going or not. They just felt that they had to cross this mountain, and they would get help, and they hoped that they would cross this mountain in 3 days. That is why they only had meat for 3 days. The supply was that they had made by walking on threads. So climbing the mountain without any gear all day, and at night, all 3 of them slept together in a single sleeping bag, spending the night in the open in minus 30 degrees Celsius without any facilities was not an easy task. It was already morning on the fourth day by the time they finished walking. But the good thing was that they had now reached the top of that hill. As soon as they reached the top of the hill, the ground slipped under their feet. Because after climbing the hill, they came to know that the direction in which they were walking for so many days was the wrong direction. The road ahead never ended. Now, since their food supply was very low, due to this, they decided that one of them would go back to the crush site and two people would go ahead. Due to this, Valentine returned and Parador Ganesha went ahead. Keep reading. After climbing some mountain peaks, they get an idea of the right path and both of them keep moving forward for several days, and after a few days, they find a small stream of river. Pujara keeps walking down, and after walking continuously for 9 days, on the 20th of December, they see 3 people on the other side of the river. They were very tired of walking. In the last 9 days, they had done 61 kilometers of hiking on the mountain, and now the mind was in front of them. They requested them for help. But those people left saying tomorrow. They did not get any help that day. But the very next day, that blazer came back again and wrapped a paper and pen in a stone and threw it on the other side of the river. Nandu Parado picked up the pen and paper and wrote everything about the incident that had happened. When Blazer read that paper, he understood everything, because he knew that a plane had crashed in these hills a few days ago, and people had come to that area for inquiry. He was surprised how these people were still alive. The Blazer went to the city as soon as possible and shared this information with the Army command and quickly left for the rescue from the airport. Army officer Parador Canetta reached the site in a helicopter, and on the 22nd of December 1972, after 70 days of the press, the remaining survivors were rescued. The condition of these people was very bad. Only 16 people were able to survive. This story of theirs was really heart-wrenching.